Welcome to Soulful Practices Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Holling-Brooks, and over the past 20 years, I have been on a journey of healing and awakening. I'm also a coach and practitioner for clients on their journey of unbridling their true self. The number one question I'm asked is what meditation or practice will help me reach my goals? While there is no one meditation or secret mantra that will unlock our own awakening, there is a doorway that will lead us there. And that's the doorway of learning and cultivating the skills of self-reflection and contemplation. Each episode of this podcast offers you pocket teachings and practices that you can implement right away to help you courageously connect with living your authentic soul-led life. Let's dive into this week's episode. Michelle Holling-Brooks here, and I am super excited to be in episode 41 of Soulful Practices with you. And what I love about this episode is that it's part of a mini series within season 4. And this one is really working with the 4 stages of creation. And this season is all about helping us courageously connect into our lives. So at the bottom line is that we can be lost in planning and thinking and imagining and setting the best intentions all day long, but without a willingness to actually, quote, engage in our life, to create form, to go from thought to form, to have that spark of inspiration catch fire within us and start to transform and transmute and create new actions and habits and ways of being that have never been there before, it doesn't do us a lot of good. In fact, it can create a lot of decision fatigue, hidden shame and blame. Why am I not doing it? Why am I not able to do this? I can see this. And even like shaming ourselves into saying, thinking that we don't have well, willpower or follow through or perseverance or endurance and all these other things, we can really get stuck in our head um, with these sabotatory thoughts that keep us from, like Nike just says, just doing it. And so this 4-part series is really here to help us kind of shake loose some of those restraints that are within us and deeply understand. I love compassion. I think willingness and action and committed action is a big hallmark of mine, but it also comes hand in hand with compassion, with understanding, with awareness and witnessing, right? You've got to bring both together. Otherwise, we end up looking at that quote, self-development aisle with all of those things and thinking, what's wrong with me? Why can't I get it? Well, one, nothing's wrong. What's wrong is that life experiences have cut you off from being able to engage in that inner combustion, transmutation, transformation, sending of being able to let go of one habit, one way of being governed by the fear, the overwhelm, the what if, the protective and trauma adaptations in our systems, and not being able to fully access the choice to, like one of my clients says, be able to click the choice. The link actually works, it's not broken, and I can engage the choice, and then I can celebrate that choice and be with it. So in episode 40, we talked about that spark of inspiration, and hopefully we've let that little spark start to go. And then this one, we're going to be talking about engagement. Because otherwise, what happens is we feel those heart's inspirations. We can see them. We can even see the place in our life that we can quote hit play on that, click on it, and engage it. And yet something backs us off. And so we end up feeling fated to be in this half-lived life. And we don't want to be that way. We want to fully embrace. And where this is when I was really discovering this and working on this within my own journey is the tagline. For those of you who've been in my world for a while have heard, but those of you who are new, is what I really want to do with Unbridled Change is I want to, one, help people begin to want to fully live their life. This engage. Then from that engagement, we can look at unlocking fully loving our life. So, really, truly taking a hard look what serves us, what no longer serves us, what matches a different frequency of another part of me that was more governed by trauma and survival adaptations. And that once I absolutely love, but no longer are lighting me up that way. How do I give myself permission to shift, to change? We're going to talk about that and the next one with part 3 with releasing, so that we can, quote, "create." We can go back in and have that rebirth. With every, quote, "death," there is a birth that's in there. And we break these down into stages when we're teaching them because we gotta teach them somehow, and we gotta invite our body into exploring them and, furrowing its brow at it and folding its arms and saying, "Let me think about that for a minute," letting it get a little curious and leaning in, saying, come on to that part of us, and ultimately freeing that up, right? Liberating that self from those shackles of the past that have us stuck in that half-lived life, so that we can truly allow ourselves to step in to that good old saying of just do it, and not make ourselves feel like we're spurring ourselves on because this is what we should be doing, but we're really leading that life that we love. And that's that third part of my tagline of live, love, lead your authentic life is like, I don't want to be spurred into making the choices that engage me in the life that I feel my heart and my soul bringing me into out of shame or pity or resentment or hidden sense of like I have to do, right? We want to lead ourselves into that freely in companionship, in true connection, with true consent in our system so that we are, quote, spreading our wings wide and taking off and flying with that. So, this is a really hard topic for me to narrow down in the topic of engagement because it literally is the body of work of what I teach at Unbridled Change, what I invite you into, and what I invite clients into experiencing and becoming aware of in their body. Where is that restriction? Where is that fear? Where is that working edge? How do we lovingly then start to build a new window of tolerance around it? So it was really hard, but I did manage to narrow it down to a few of my favorite quotes. And as for those of you that are new to me, welcome so much. I love quotes because I think they help give us something tangible to hold on to, so to speak, and give us an entry point of connection and a spark. And so I couldn't narrow it down to just one, and I gave myself permission to weave them all together. So let's dive in and see how it goes um, into the system of engagement. The first one that came forward is from Pema Chodron, and I've talked about her multiple times in Soulful Practices. She is a beautiful Buddhist monk that is based in mostly America, and she teaches wisdom teachings and traditions. And she has a card deck of her own. I'm really into card decks right now since I'm launching the Sacred Witness Oracle over on Kickstarter. Side note, if you haven't had a chance to look at that, see the link below. Definitely go over there and check that out. I think it'll bring some beautifulness to you. And even if you're like, "Hey, Michelle, I have enough card decks. I don't even need any more, but I want to help you bring this project in," you can even pledge without a reward. Although get the reward because they're pretty awesome. But I welcome those pledges and that bonus support as well too. And Pema says in one of her cards, which are more Dharma cards, so they're like an oracle card. They she gives what's called in the Buddhist practice a slogan, and that slogan is then designed to get you into inner reflections and conversations, and ultimately liberating yourself from those habits and those ways of being. And so, on the flip side of like the slogan side, it has a little commentary from her, and it's truthfully what I wanted my oracle deck to be. I didn't want it to just be this static kind of like feel good statement. Yes, I want that in there, but I also wanted it to deeply engage you into a conversation, into that enlightenment, into that ability to see where there is separation and division, and restrictive thinking from that mental being in there and that conditioned self, so that you can open that up to the wisdom of the heart. And this particular one that really wanted to come forward in this episode is that her card says, "Don't be frivolous." That's the slogan. And with engagement, that might seem like an odd invitation. But really, when you flip it over and it goes into the invitation, is that she is inviting us to say that what this card is pointing to is that our time is our greatest resource. And so don't waste our precious time, and that we never know how long we're going to get. And as somebody who has walked with near death experiences and life threatening illnesses in her lifetime, way more than I need to at this point, I think I can hopefully close that chapter. But one of the things that the wisdom, the medicine that is in each one of those experiences that I have had is it helps me truly understand the preciousness of our time. Right? That right here, right now, this is our life. So, the hard question that this stage of creation invites us into is why are we waiting? Why are we holding on to a spark and waiting on it? If we agree that there's divine timing, even in the chaos of that spark, even if we logically can't put our pieces together and understand rationally why that spark is coming in and what that's up to, then are we willing to let that go? Let go of the gods of reason, let go of that logic, and say, if that spark is coming in, there is something here for me to do. It might be as simple as claiming it, it might be just writing it down, it might be willing to let it start to breathe and talk to me and dialogue with me. It's not, I have to create this right now. I fell into that trap kind of at some point in my journey very early on, and I thought I had to do everything that was the sparks of inspirations in me. And in human design, I have the jack of all trades channel and gate. So that's a lot of ideas, right? And then what I realized is like, hey, sometimes there is no space and time. So sometimes these ideas are coming in little bits and pieces here and there. And so I have like a little journal that I call like the spark of inspiration journal. So I invite you to do that. But the hard question is once I got an inspiration that had timing associated with it, was I allowing myself to fully one, be with that inspiration? And two, was I allowing myself to move, to engage that inspiration as it was? And then was I willing to actually be with it the way it was guiding me to be with versus the way I thought I needed to be. I thought other people wanted me to be with it. Like, how and who was I when I was in that dance of engagement? And these are some of the hard questions that really come forward with this stage. It's like, how much are we willing to fully live? And how much of that are we willing to fully engage in our life right now? Right? That's really what the heart of this episode is. So I'm not burying the lead at all. Here we are. And that is the question that's really in there. Now let's help us kind of, sift, digest, and answer this question with love and kindness. Remember, healing tip is to always look inward with yourself, with this self knowledge, with one humbleness. Like if I just say, oh, of course, this is what I'm doing, then I'm not giving myself that gift of true compassionate inquiry, right? I'm not allowing myself to kind of look for that conditioned self, that self that I created in order to survive this aspect of my life or this one, this construct that I felt that I was stuck in. Like, I'm not allowing myself to lovingly meet that part of me, witness that part of me maybe for the first time, and then invite myself to free myself up from that quote hell that a part of me is stuck in. That isolation, that exile part of me, it gets to come home. Gets to come home to my heart and it gets to um kind of come off the battlefield, so to speak, because that's where it's been stuck. So we want to look inward with love, with compassion, with humbleness, and a real honoring, taking our shoes off on the sacred ground that is us, because it's again not a question of willpower and drive. Instead, I believe that that is all innately within us. Why? Because that's a part of our heart and that's a part of our soul. So instead, the better quote question to be honoring and asking ourselves is kind of what happened? What was up? What were the conditions in which this part of me did get quote shut down, disengaged? What was creating that protective shielding and mechanism that separated me out from being able to show up who I really am, how I really am, and in alignment with the way I was being asked to show up right now in this present moment for myself. When we can do that, then we can ignite that spark, right? We can liberate our own heart. And then the buffers and the walls just naturally start to come down because we are coming with peace. We're coming with love. We're coming into this inquiry not with spurs raking up the sides of our body, trying to will us into a change. We are exhaling, releasing that restriction, like almost like vines that are just pulling at us and ripping and taking us down. We're releasing those vines and we're giving ourselves permission to move the way we've always wanted to move. Then willpower and drive is not really the issue because we have that innate fire energy from that spark giving us that momentum. And we're going to talk about that. That's in one of the quotes that we are. So let's dive in to the different ones that really wanted to come in that are rooted in that original kind of quote card draw from Pema Chodron's quote of don't be frivolous, that our time is our most precious possession and we never know how much we're going to get. So therefore, let's be good stewards, right? And I like to add to that piece when I was really meditating on that and working with that card over the years, it was, and how do I want to feel in that time? Who do I want to be in that time? I don't want to just work hard. Like, I want to feel. That's where the second part of I want to love. I don't want to just fully live that day and have my head hit the pillow and say, wow, I did all the things. I followed the things. I was a good, quote, soldier following the marching ball. Like, I was like, I want to love my life. What would that feel like? That was a radical thought for me at that time because I did have much more of that soldier warrior mentality. This idea of loving my life, it was radical to me because it was like, wait, this isn't just a dumpster fire that I'm trying to time myself out of. And I sent myself here to do like community service. And now I can actually enjoy my time here. Another one of my sayings, joyful service, kind of came in. And that's where I want to show you one of the cards that literally goes with this stage from the Sacred Witness Oracle deck. And that is what card is this? I don't know. The card number just went out of my head, but you're going to see it here in a second. And it's called Engage. And again, it sits in the mental being section of the deck because it's here to help you. Oh, good job, Spirit. Spirit's like, Michelle, you have the guidebook in front of you. See, just engage. You get the spark of inspiration. Look down, follow the bouncy ball, but do it with love and kindness and joy. And so, yeah, engage. Can I engage in card 32 in my life? And it's our mental being that stops us. So, like right there, it's kind of funny. I want to just pause and say, I could have fought that. I could have fought that thing that said, Michelle, look down because, oh, you're breaking eye contact with the camera, or you're doing this, or you do that. But because I was willing to just engage with that question that just said, "Hey, Michelle, don't forget you have the guidebook sitting in front of you." And then I was like, "Look down," and I'm like, "Okay, sure, let's look down." Bam, there it is, open to the page. Ah, I love synchronicities and things like that. So yeah, that to me just feels so held, so loved. And then I can tell the mental being, hey, relax, we're not in this alone. There is more holding us, supporting us, there for us than we think. So that right there, here's the episode. No, I have some more that I want to get to. But yeah, just feel into that. Like this is not unique to me. This is not some special divine gift that I have. This is how we're all wired. And the only quote difference might is that I have just decided through lots of trial and error that I really love my life when I have this partnership open, when I have this channel open and I'm willing to feel that inspiration and I'm willing to engage it, right? it's not going to keep giving me inspiration if I keep not engaging, because that's just going to be more shame, more blame, more hurt, more me feeling that weight of like, I heard it, but then I didn't do it. Right. And so it's not going to want to be unkind to us. So it's not going to keep adding on more of that. So, really getting this link between inspiration and engagement, believe, ask, act, like the more we can bring that in, the more this channel is going to open and the more you're going to literally feel that that grace is always there, always available. I don't have to open to it outside of me. I have to open to it within me. I have to say to the mental being as the gatekeeper. And that's why this card sits in the mental being section, is the gatekeeper to our heart. Why? Not because it wants to make our life miserable, but because it tries to protect us. And that's what it thinks its job is. And so, step one is we're just going to say, thank you, mental being. But you can relax and trust that that support is there and it is available to us at all times. So, take a look at this card, card number 32, and just look at it for a second. See this amazing elephant being that is just showing us, and I love Kim Ganley's art here. It's just showing us to like free ourselves up. It's like painting, it's like slaughtering these beautiful, like primary colors, paints all over the place. And it's like letting it drip down. And it's not trying to be like absolutely exact with it. It's just like, I am embracing that urge, right? To say yes. So it's really inviting us to not be afraid, first off, like it's not holding back. It's not afraid to get a little messy. It's not afraid to not be perfect. It's willing to have a little bit of fun while creating and being with that. And so that is what this energy of the second stage is about. Imagine that if this elephant had bought all these paints and had them all sitting there and had this great idea for this mural and having fun doing it and creating it. But yeah, it's stalled out. And so the paint sat there and sat there. And every day the elephant would come and look at that paint and think, oh, I need to do this. And then pretty soon it would start avoiding even walking by the paints. And then the paints themselves would lose their integrity, start to dry, start to shift, start to change. And yes, can you buy new paints? Absolutely. Yes, can you put that in there? But what has passed in that time from that inspiration to get the paints, put the paint there, and the inspiration of the creation to just start with is that a lot of time and a lot of angst in, just imagine if that elephant was doing that happening with it. Like it would be shut down. It would almost be have a shame, an aversion to that side. It would be starting to create a very different story than what it looks like, this free abandonment, joy of being in the act of creation, right? And that's us, right? So I have a couple more quotes that I'm going to build off of, and then we're going to do a practice here. So, when this card arrives, it really is asking us to engage in something in our life right now. We are doing some version of the elephant that's not going to the paints. Bought the paints, got the paints there, is right there, ready to like step into movement, or maybe is picking up the paint with a little dip of a paintbrush and it wants to like be like, let's play. Right? And it's withholding itself. So, something in your life right now, if you're listening to this, is wanting for you to engage it more. That could be a project. That could also be an aspect of your life. This could be with your own heart. This could be an inner or an outer relationship. It can be as simple as, I give an example in the guidebook for this one, and I share that I had bought a brand new pair of boots, and yet I was still wearing the the literal boots that were falling apart, like disconnecting, muddy, and then grumbling about why my feet were wet at the end of the day after feeding, in muddy conditions. I was like, "Oh, look at my muddy socks," and, like, literally, I had a brand new pair of boots right there, but I wasn't using them. And it wasn't to make me feel silly or sad, it was a beautiful invitation to be like, "Hey, Michelle, what's really up with that?" Right? And so we want to again have kindness and love when we recognize that there's some part that we're subtly or not so subtly disengaging from. We maybe have done the work, we maybe have already created it in our life, but we're not living fully with it. We're not loving fully with that. And therefore, we're not leading ourselves in there in alignment in being congruent with what our heart is asking us to do, what we ourselves probably want to do. And instead, we're defaulting down to an old karmic way of being, a conditioned version of us. In this episode, we want to help break that. So, just to kind of give us a little bit of a runway here of creating, I have a couple more quotes. And so, this first one is from Justin Chang. And like I said, we Hmm, interesting. Pause. Yeah. Okay. From Justina Chin. And it says, when the creative impulse sweeps over you, she says, grab it. I'm going to and change out that word grab for engage because I don't want to add any more of that grippy energy. If I don't get it now, then oh, too bad I lost it. And then we get grippy with it, and then we don't want to release when we need to release. So I don't want to encourage that word. So we're going to switch it to engage it. You engage it, honor it, use it, because the momentum is a rare gift. And then Martha Graham, who's another author, shares about that rare gift, that there is a vitality and a life force, an energy, a quickening that is translated through you into action when we allow ourselves to move with that inspiration, that impulse that sweeps over us. And when we begin to engage it, that comes with its own vitality, life force, and energy that quickens within us and translates through us into our actions. So now the very action that we are doing, connecting with somebody, reaching out, creating a new project like the Sacred Witness Oracle, picking up the boots and putting them on, that themselves, it has within it this vital life force energy. And that life force energy then can translate, it can transmute itself from us to the other without costing us anything. How often do we feel after engaging, when we're doing what I would like to now call messy engagement, when we're moving from spurs raking up our side, when we're moving from a should or a hidden expectation or a feeling of this is what I have to do or should do, and then I'm in quote unquote people pleasing and messy versions of this all over the place. When I do that, it is not infused with my vital life force energy of the quote Reiki. It's infused with the energy from my cells. It's an expensive transmutation. It's translation. It's an expensive exchange that's happening in that engagement. And the result is I feel drained. Well, what if we can engage through a different battery pack? That's what the elephant is engaging with in that card. That is what Justina and Martha are talking about. That when we allow ourselves to engage through that creative impulse and we allow it and honor it and use it, the momentum that comes with that impulse, that's the rare gift. That is now coming in and through and out in that life force energy into our actions. And that is what we're passing off. That is what we're spreading like beautiful hearts, little light energy. Like that's why I say offering light, love, and joy. Light comes first because it is that that comes out, right? And that's such a rare gift because it is then something that can do the same for the other. And it's unique to that moment of that transmission of that creative spark, that fire, that flame that sparks within, we engage it, we honor it, we use it, and that becomes the momentum that feeds out into the whole. And it is just awe inspiring to see. So we need it. Another one from Thich is says that what is the purpose of life? The purpose is to be you, because there's only one you in all of time. Even if you have quote multiple lifetimes or whatever you believe in that, there's only one you that has been through the experiences and the culmination and the view of the fence post that that is sitting on. So that has a unique expression, and so the way that that energy will pass through you and out is completely unique, and the world needs that. We need that so much right now. You need that. So again, I don't wanna throw you into the the light worker, responsibility. This is also for you to say, part of this is for you to feel a life that you can live fully, a life that you love, and that you feel that you are leading in alignment with who you truly be. And because I don't want to just sound like the motivation books and all the aisles, I want to honor and have a trauma informed approach to it. We are saying we're going to do the things, and fear is probably going to be there. So do what I call say hello, my dear friend. Pull up a chair. My first book, The Horse Cure, I wrote in the introduction that I'm doing this scared. I'm inviting fear to pull up a chair and sit next to me as I was writing, because it was scary to me to be a first time author and to be working through that. And I just wanted to acknowledge that, right? And so we do want to acknowledge that engaging is risky business. Hence what I talked about with that feeling, that inspiration. We got to be willing to take risks, right? And so if we ask it to pull up a chair and say, I know you're here, I know you have reasons why you're here, and yet I'm going to invite you to sit back and watch that there is more support here. There are more resources. I have more ability to tend to myself, the good, the bad, the ugly, than you think we do. Because the chances are, whenever that fear was born, was when I didn't have as many degrees of freedom. I didn't have as many skill sets as I did. And it really was, if I made a mistake, there were consequences that did feel completely attached to my quote survival, right? And so we want to honor that. Also, I have two more quotes to help us out. One is from author and activist Susan Sontag. And she really helps give some sage advice in managing our expectations, and really helping us recognize that in addition to a willingness to pull up a chair and do things scared, that she points out that we often have these hidden ways that we disengage, um, by waiting for permission. In her words, she calls it society's kiss on the forehead, and I just love that. So when she was asked for advice on how to engage and create, she said to just do stuff. So a little bit like Nike's. And then she goes on, be clenched. Like there's going to be a part of your body that's sitting in that chair that's like a little bit like, oh, I don't know. And there's a part of you that's curious. "Huh, I wonder what if in a good way. So we gotta like honor that and bring that in. And then she says, do not wait for inspiration's shove or society's kiss on the forehead. Stay eager, stay engaged. And to me, that is such a huge thing to remind ourselves. Like, that's a huge thing that I'm going to say to that fearful part to me is like, hey, I know that a part of you is waiting for your inspiration to like the heavens depart and like come down and say, when you do this, then. And that is that idea of we're searching for a guarantee. And so the last piece that I wanted to bring in is actually from a book and from Fahrenheit 451. And I read this way back in the day, like back in high school, when you have to read all those books that they just make everybody read. And I remembered this one because I realized that a part of me was really looking for this. This was a time frame in my life where I was really confused, really all up in the air. And I remember reading it and I really actually challenged it. And then as my daughter hit high school and she read this again, I remember reading it again with her, and I was like, "Oh, this was one of the ones I actually really railed against." And I was like, if I can get good enough at hearing my guidance, then this won't happen. And it was like at this perfect moment when I was revisiting that belief, and I had teachers all across in different walks of my life really challenge me that on saying, Michelle, you have to be willing to be wrong to be quote right. You have to be willing to let go of this idea of being right and certain and this, that, and the other so that you can actually have clear discernment so that you can actually be flexible and moving with in the moment guidance. And then that willingness to be wrong actually opens you up to quote be in the quote accurate reading that wants to come in because you're not so hyper vigilant on the what ifs or shaming yourself or spurring yourself on or ready to whack yourself with the proverbial um ruler, so to speak. I had a teacher that did that one time. And so that one's in there until I cracked that over their head. Got in a little bit of trouble from that. Been a rebel all the way from the beginning. And so this quote from the book is when the main character is kind of talking to somebody else about doing the right thing and doing it because that's what's being moved from their heart. And he says, ask for no guarantees, ask for no security. There are never such an animal. And if there were, it would be related to the great sloth, which hangs upside down in a tree all day, every day, sleeping its life away. And then it kind of riles him up and he says, to hell with that. Shake that tree, knock down the great sloth, and step into actions. Stop waiting for that. We will wait and sleep away our whole life. That's the energy of engagement, is it kind of comes in and it says, hey, fear, you're totally allowed to be here. In fact, I have a sacred place for you. I have a place of deep understanding, deep honoring. And I also have a place for deep understanding and honoring that this inspiration, this idea, this way of being that wants to be seen, felt, and heard in my body, the body of my life, that's here. And I'm not going to give it up to wait for society to kiss me on the forehead. I'm not going to abandon and abort that for somebody else's um, recognition. In fact, I'm not even going to ask for a guarantee or and for a a contract that says, "If I do this, I will get this, 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 and this from this." I'm gonna throw all that caution to the wind because that would be me sleeping my life away because it's not real. So this busts up the whole illusion, that I really got stuck with, which was if I can guarantee that I heard it right, that I felt it right, that if I do this, then that will all be grace and ease, gumdrops and roses, the heavens will part, and I will only be experiencing positive things in that. And that if I experience something that's not positive, that means I did something wrong. That was all disengaging me. That was all subtly holding me back from being able to be with my life, to be in the messy middle of creation, and to be willing to take the risks, to make mistakes, to allow ourselves to let the momentum of that which we felt that inspiration to feed us and then therefore feed others, right? All without dinging ourselves in the process. And wow, this was a game changer for me. And I think hopefully this is going to offer you something that too will help you break free from these hidden, sometimes very subtle tug of wars that are happening within us, and sometimes massive tug of wars that are happening within us. That we feel this stirring of inspiration, and that stirring of inspiration from our heart and from our soul really invites us to walk with this paradoxical nature of excitement and fear, courage and risks, um, belief and faith and doubt. Like it says, walk with both, move with both, tend to both. because they're both going to always be there. Like it's not about an either or, this dualistic mindset. It's about a holistic thinking of each one can be there. The question is, what do I hemorrhage my energy to? How do I work with the doubts? How do I work with the fear? How do I work with the naysayer parts within me? How do I meet them with this heart energy, which then helps us move forward with the excitement and the courage and the exhilaration that comes with that inspiration, and 10 to the part of me that's sitting in this chair. It's a yes, and both are possible, both can happen. So these quotes really do invite us into the different ingredients that are needed to fully engage, right? To be in that place of allowing ourselves to connect with our hearts and allow our hearts to connect with our movements, either inward and outward. And then from there, creating the form. Thought creates form and engaging the form that we actually create without the heavens having to part and saying, this is what will happen if you do X, Y, and Z, guaranteed. That's not a real, no such animal exists. Can we let that go without having to be granted permission from an outside authority because they might or might not be able to empower another? So, can we empower ourselves with that? And when we do that, it creates a rare gift, the momentum of a rare gift that not only feeds us life force and vitality, whatever it is we step into action with, it feeds that as well. It offers light, love, and joy to those beings as well, whether that's a part of ourselves or another out into the world at large, so to speak. So, back to Pema Chodron's. We can literally wait our life away day by day, thinking, planning, waiting, looking to who do I need to get permission from? What does this look like? What do I need? How do I get make sure the fine print is all in place? Right? There's doing our due diligence, and then there's way going beyond that. We're talking about the way going beyond it. Due diligence, great. Discernment, amazing. You need to have it. The way beyond fear pace, that's the part we're talking about right now. Right? We want to unlock the cage within ourselves, so to speak. We want to let ourselves out so that we lead ourselves through that door, so that we start moving. And that is how we move with this inner peace, this inner ease, and this grace along our path, even if the path has its quotes, ups and downs, because you know what? It's going to. It's always going to, because it's a holistic world that is going to have some beautiful, amazing parts of it and some parts of it that part of us would say, yeah, that doesn't need to be there. And yet, when we get further down the path, we go, oh, I can't imagine if that wasn't there because that was there. I was able to reclaim this. I was able to restore this. I was able to heal this boundary within myself. Like because of that ups and downs, I actually was able to unlock and grant myself my own wisdom and medicine and allow that to be there. And so that's why this soul medicine of courage, it needs to go right with it, which is why it's in this season. And these ones want to come in, it's because it really does take a lot of courage for us to walk up to that tree, shake it, get those vines to let go so that we can show up with who we are being called to be, how we are being called to be, and with what we are being called to be with, either internally or externally. Let's do a little wiggle wiggle. Let's do a little somatic practice if this feels good. It's about engagement. I don't want to keep you in your head. And so just take a few deep breaths in and out and just feel, check in and do a little body scan. What's going on in your body right now, which is the topic that we've been talking about. This idea of engaging fully. So just feel that, saying in whatever way it works for you, I am willing to fully engage with whatever first choice, best choice, whatever it came into your mind at the beginning of this episode of, oh, wow, she's talking about this. My soul is saying, here, lean in about this. So if you say, I'm willing to fully engage with that, What happens in your body, in and around your body, right? What do you feel? And remember, they don't have to match. So you can have a part of you that's like, yes. And you can have a part of you that's got a little constriction. It could be flipping back and forth. Like just earlier in my meditation this morning, I was engaging a similar conversation. And I could feel a tightening in my chest, like it was squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. And then a part of me would say, and we got this, we got this. And it would release. We can pick a new path. And then it would go back in. And then I would breathe with it for a little bit and it would relax. And I just watched this wave. And it really allowed me to honor those fears and those experiences that created those fears. They didn't just come from nowhere. So each time I was able to really see a part of me and really honor what they went through and then let them know that we're not in those spaces anymore. We have a new opportunity to engage ourselves and our lives differently. And we're going to take it, right? We're going to do it scared. Just feel in. And if it feels good to you, just pause and take a moment and write them down. They might be resolving and they just might be sharing, like getting the quote map, the lay of the land of some areas it wants to work on throughout this week. And now what I would love to invite you to do is we're going to see if it's willing to just let you engage with this current moment, just as a practice, as a way to start to wake up these pathways and these muscles with engaging with your five senses as fully as you can in this moment. So, a willingness to let you feel what you can touch, right? A willingness for you to be able to hear what you can hear in this moment with your five senses. What can I see? What can I smell? What can I taste? Just take a moment. What do you feel? So, do you feel your feet on the ground? This is doing that body scan again. And instead of looking for internal sensations, we're more looking for can my body engage with the world outside of me? Can I feel my feet? Can I feel the top of my feet? How about the ankles, the lower limbs? If you have clothing touching your lower limbs, can you feel where the clothing touches your limbs? And again, we're going to lovingly get curious here. If you can't feel it, no shame and blame here. Please leave that at the door. It's just like, huh, that's really interesting. I have a top of my foot on my left, but not on my right. Hmm, okay, good to know, right? We don't have to go into a whole dissecting of that right now. We're just noticing. Step one, awareness. Step two, acceptance that that is really what's happening without shame, blame, or guilting yourself. I just went and touched my fingertips to each other. So, can you feel like your fingers touching a surface, whether that be a phone? I have a beautiful rock bean here because she always likes to be with me when I'm recording to just help kind of ground me and bringing in that beautiful milky quartz energy. Can I feel that? Can I feel the surface of it? Or do I have a narrator in between me telling me it's a rock, it's hard, it's cool, or whatever it is? This is the chair that's holding you. Um, can you feel it directly? Or do you have a narrator in between telling you what it is you're feeling? Again, this is just all information. Whatever it is good. It's beautiful, it's amazing, it's what your system needs it to be. But ultimately, we're going to start to lovingly see if it's willing to let you feel it with the touch, experience, engage the physical form of this other being, which could be inanimate or animate depending on how you see things, right? Okay, all the way up to Can you feel I have curly hair, so my hair moves as one. So if I move my hair a little bit, I can feel it all over my head. But can you feel the air that's on you right now? Is there a fan? Is there a breeze? Is it cool? Is it hot? Is it sticky? Again, see if you're noticing, is it a narrator or is it allowing you to actually engage with that sense? I invite you to practice each one of these as standalone meditations. I mean, oh, there's so much in here, but again, podcast, I got to hold it in. So let's go now to here. Give me like three or four things that you can hear in your space right now. It might be your own breath. It might be air moving. It might be an insect noise or a creaking, a crunching of leaves if you're outside. What can you hear in your space right now? My voice. And hopefully I'm using a new mic setup. It's working pretty well. We're gonna see how this mic one setup goes. Change it up. Again, feel free to keep going. It's just in the interest of time. I'm going to move to the next sense. What can I see right now? So you might be looking at me on your phone, but you might just be listening to me through an audio. So look around, give yourself permission to let go of looking at the screen. I don't change. I don't have all the fancy bells and whistles. It's just me recording and sharing. So yeah, look around your space. What do you see right now? And give yourself permission to look at it with, like, if you're brand new, as if you've never seen that space before, like, get curious, bring in that medicine of curiosity. Think of that elephant painting with those colors, really engaging in that space. What do I see? And if you catch yourself doing a to-do list, like, "Ooh, I gotta clean that," or "Oh, that's over there," or "Oh, I never noticed that spot." Like, just notice, what are you noticing? Is it coming in through a to-do list? Is it coming in through like a, "Oh, hello, old friend. I didn't know you were there." Or, "Oh," again, there's no right or wrong. We're just noticing what is the conditioned self. Okay. The fun one is smell. So, what can you smell right now? Those of you who don't know, and those of you who do, just a reminder is that smell is on a different neural pathway than our quote cognitive memory. And so, smell engages a whole different aspect of our own internal energetic system. And it links us to way beyond space and time, and it's linked to memory, it's linked to other stuff like that, and we're going to talk about that here in a second. So, this little snipper, we want to invite it in. What can I smell? Try to stay in your physical space right now, but like I just smelled actually my hair product as I, there we go. Then what can you taste right now? So, if you do have something to drink, like go ahead and take a little sip of that. But also just kind of breathe through your mouth and that will activate your taste buds. What do you taste in this moment? Mm. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. I encourage you to do a five senses check in all over the place with this lens on. Can I truly engage with my environment through that five senses? Take it for a walk in the park, take it through your office, take it through your home space, take it through your recreational spaces. Like take it different places and give yourself 90 seconds to just say, what can I feel? Like truly feel and engage with through the sense of touch. What can I hear? What can I see? What can I smell? What can I taste? And now I'm going to invite you into what I call the soul senses. So I teach this really in depth in other places. So I'm just bringing a quick little version here. But there's a whole lot more into really engaging and opening these channels. But I'm just inviting you to have fun with this and let yourself guide you in this one. And again, this has a lot to do with engagement because we want to engage our daily life, that precious resource of our time. How do we want to engage it? Who do we want to be when we're engaging it? And how do we want to feel in that? I don't want to just move through the five senses in the literal version. I want to be with my heart with that. So we want to open up those channels then to be able to feel what is it that our heart is inviting us into, right? So we can sense, see, feel, hear, know, be with our heart and our soul in that dialogue. Because again, it's not static. I can't even imagine. Earlier today, I was at the barn and one of my barn crew members was like, "Hey, Michelle, have you seen the water trough brush?" And I was like, "No, I haven't. I haven't seen it." And I'm walking over and like I hear Michelle, look over to your left. And again, spark of inspiration comes in. I heard that through this heart channel that we're talking about. And so I stopped moving. I engaged that inspiration. I looked to the left and I was like, huh, I don't see it. And it was like, look a little bit. And my eyes moved up on their own. I didn't move them. I was allowing that part of me to move my eyes up, turn my head a little bit more, and bam, there it was. And I said, here it is. And I picked up, she's like, how'd you do that? And I was like, remember, I'm like, life is so much easier with this partnership on board because like I'm not alone. And so I didn't have to think where would the other barn crew member put it? What would they have been doing? And logically work my way to that spot. I probably could have, but that would have been a lot of energy, right? This way, it was just this beautiful moment. Then I got to laugh and I got to giggle and be like, oh, thank you. I'm so glad you and I are connected and in that connection with each other and have that much faith and trust in each other. Like my mind had to be willing to let my heart and my soul literally channel through me and move my physical body to be in connection with a question that wasn't even in my wheelhouse, but yet I could help support somebody, right? That's that rare gift that then comes through and goes to her. And for her, it was also an ability to be like, hey, you can do this too. Again, nothing special here. It's just I've had maybe some more practice and more ability to bring that in. And that's what this is. That's what soulful practices is all about. Courageously being in this connection. I love this. Okay. So wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. We're opening up to your heart and your soul, and allowing yourself to say, what is it that my heart wants me to feel in this moment? And again, we trust that there's probably some protectors, there's probably some fears and worries, some concerns, some like, oh, I don't know about this. Just invite them to sit down. First choice, best choice. What does my heart want me to feel in this moment? It could be huge, oh, but it also could be just for you. As real as me bringing this beautiful being for you to see, and the way that I can feel that with my hand, this is as real as what my heart wants me to feel. It is just as tangible. It is just has the same amount of felt sense to it. It has nuancing to it. It has an emotion, a thought, idea, frequency. Okay. Nice deep breath in. We're going to go to the next sense. What does my heart want me to feel or we just to feel? Maybe? Okay. One last chance. We can come back to it. Feel in this moment. Okay, now let's go to what does it want you to hear? Some people call these the clairs that I'm walking through. I believe that we are all multisensory. We just have different ones that we're more comfortable with or that we really had to use to help us survive. So and ones that we really don't want to use to survive. So again, we're opening up, we're waking up these channels. So what does your heart want you to hear in this moment? Some people hear it like an audible voice outside of themselves, and most of the times it's in quote the mind's eye or the heart's center. What does it want you to hear in this moment? They can match or they can be completely separate. So don't try to again box this in. See how much you can pass off the wheel, so to speak. What does your heart want you to see in this moment? Again, this is where a lot of people see images in their mind's eye. Um, it might literally want to do what my heart and soul did, which is move my eyeballs so I saw something literal in the physical space around me instead of the unseen world of my own inner world. Both of them were very valid. So, what does your heart want you to see in this moment? Deep breath in and out. Again, you can keep continuing. You can come back to it. You can work with each one of these senses like once a day, once a week, as much as that feels good to you. What does your heart want you to smell in this moment? Remember when I said smell is on a different pathway? So often this is these are two. So smell and taste is clear aliens and clear gustants. And what they are is everything's frequencies, right? There is no space and time. So that beautiful smell might be to help you remember something, to claim something, to bring forward a part of you that needs your attention or support. Um, and so again, I want to be trauma informed about this. Smells can be linked to quote loops in our system. They also can be quote glimmers. They can bring us into a part of ourselves that honestly we have forgotten. A joy, an innocence, a love, a laughter, a strength, a moment where we overcame and persevered and found our joy. You know, like they can bring us into different things. So right now, I'm also thinking of like different soul bean medicines that want to come in. I'm getting ready to do a let's talk about this. And so I smell like peppermint and a little bit of rosemary and tea tree. These are gorgeous frequencies that are coming in to help support all of us right now, right? To kind of be able to step into holding that vast mixed bag of some of that excitement, that lavender, that healing, that soothing and support. And the tea tree is kind of coming in to help us work with some of those quote energetic pathogens, right? Those ways in which things have been festering and being with, like all that soothing support is right there that wants to come in. And smell is one of the main ways those energies get our attention. If it's not through sight, like seeing the plant bean or the medicine bean, and it could be taste. So, what does your now I smell like almost like a vanilla. Mm, making me a little hungry. Again, that plant medicine of vanilla is that soothing, that support, that coating. So it's really coming in to help with the healing energies is what I feel very much coming. Also, sometimes we can get a sensation of hunger, and that's our heart like saying that there's something we are hungry for, something that it's yearning for, like a draw is getting pulled in. Um, and we feel cut off from being able to feed ourselves and nourish ourselves that way. And so, again, the more we give permission for these pathways to be in connection, the more support and dialogue we can have with this innate part of you. Again, just don't force any of these inquiries. Allow what wants to come to come. It's all in divine timing. We are just like shining a flashlight in this episode on these different pathways of engagement and hoping to kind of shake that tree, wake them up, and begin with you to have those conversations. So you can keep continuing this as you go. But remember that we don't want to just think about it, we want to do it. So if you set that intention to say, hey, I want to practice my five senses and then roll that into my soul senses, or I want to pick one sense and work on my physical sense first and then open to that and scanning where's my body like yes, where's it like no, whatever that is you come up with, your task this week is to engage that, feel that inspiration when that little voice comes that sweeps in with that momentum. Engage it, hold it, honor it, be with it, because that is what then wants to come through you and wants to be that rare gift to yourself and to others. And we're not going to wait for society's kiss on the forehead to say, go for it. We're going to give that to ourselves. So everybody just give that to yourself right now, and really allow that to be a part of it. There's like a little, sorry, little insect energy wanted to come in, and they really work together. So maybe I was like, oh, why is that little insect in there? But yeah, work together, be in this community with yourself, right? And when you find yourself stuck in those tricky traps of seeking guarantees and safety, and that this is going to all be gumdrops and roses, or you're doing it wrong, like give yourself permission to break loose from that. Recognize that there is life force energy, nurturing support that comes with this. When that inspiration comes, the way in which we need to create form with that is right there. So, whether we need to be able to have that inspiration help us resource into a part of ourselves that maybe we need to rearrange with, it's there. And have that faith. Or the inspiration of where to reach to start dialoguing, asking questions, branching out outside of yourself, that will also be there if we're willing to move with it. And to me, that's joy. When we can feel that sense of being held, that sense of that we're not alone, that I can resource myself internally and externally with this support, all of a sudden doing things scared doesn't feel so insurmountable, right? We can still have utmost compassion for ourselves, and we can also be willing to let that paint fly, let ourselves get messy, let ourselves make those mistakes, get a few new laugh wrinkles in the process, and most importantly, step into fully loving, leading, and living, engaging in our authentic life. So this week, I invite you to set this intention with me to sense, see, hear, hear, know, your five little senses, when you are being inspired, wave of inspiration to engage more with your life. When that happens, pause, bring a little hand, so to speak, to the heart and ask for Reiki energy to help guide your attention, just like it did for me, to those parts of me that are nervous, maybe judging the way I'll be judged if I engage the way that inspiration is calling me to do. So I can tend to that part. I can pull up a chair and say, share with me more with what that is. I also want Reiki energy to help engage me with the parts of me that are yearning to me. Like when I feel that inspiration, that spark come in, instead of like being like, okay, I'll get to you here, like help me move towards that. Acknowledge that yearning, acknowledge that call. And even if I just write it down and say, okay, I'm going to come back to you. And so I can keep moving with my daily kind of quote kitty litter box of life. Great, but I'm engaging it, I'm writing it down, right? And then once I start to get that action item starts to come clear, help me then see when there are pieces of me that are stuck, that are kind of lost in this inner tug of war of fears and what if and logical reasons why I should or should not do something, how much I should or should not engage, right? Old tapes. Oh, this isn't for you. You don't work this way. Blah, blah, blah. Somebody could do this better. Whatever that is, help me see that part. And then from this awareness, help me engage both in the soulful conversations with these parts of me that I now have sitting around this sacred table of me, right? And also with stepping into committed action that helps me engage and be with and lead myself into my life the way I've been called to lead and be and live. Kind of backwards, but I think it works. All right. So I hope that this card of the elephant, the energy that she brings forward, and these different quotes really help speak to you, kind of rattle, shake things loose a little bit, and help you see the possibilities that are present and waiting for you right now in your life. Because just like me, there is something that wants to be there and wants to engage with you to splash through the colors or the mud puddles, so to speak, of life. and really dive in and get in there. So I'd love to hear what that is for you. I'd love to hear how these two practices of feeling and being with are going for you. And yeah, up next week we will dive into the third stage, which is really a part of what withholds us from engaging. But I want to feel that energy of engagement before we go into the third stage, which is releasing and letting go. So offering you light, love, and joy. And oh, by the way, if you haven't had a chance to check over there and check out the Sacred Witness Oracle, I would welcome your support. We definitely need that support to help bring this out into the world. If you're feeling called to engage with this, now's the time. Click that link below and pop over there and see if it would be a great addition to your practices. Offering you light, love, and joy, Michelle. Thank you for listening to Soulful Practices. For more information on how to work directly with me or one of my guests, check out the show notes below. We'd love for you to also let us know what parts of this episode are speaking to you and how this practice is supporting you on your healing and spiritual journey. Please share this podcast with fellow seekers, travelers. Together, we can create a wave of soul-led beings in this world, offering you light, love, and joy on your journey. Michelle Holling-Brooks. Until next time.